So, you're wondering why guys like to be called daddy? Well, that's going to be today's subject, and we're going to talk about it right now. Welcome back, everyone, to Tips for Women, where we talk about everything in a man's mind that he doesn't want you to know. And today, we're going to dive into that subject of why do men like to be called daddy? I mean, is it creepy? Is it acceptable? Well, we're going to discuss both ways because, not all men like their woman to dress up like they're in the 5th grade and walk around Toys R Us to go shopping. But a lot of men do. So we're going to discuss the reasons why. And let's dive into it right now. Now, the first reason, it also depends on the relationship that you're in. So, for example, I used to be married. And when I was married, I would come home to my kids and they would be sitting there with their mother, and I would go up and I would hug my kids, and they would tell me, "Are you going to say hello to mama?" And I would say, "Hey, mama," and she would go, "Hey, daddy." And it just stuck. Over time, it just stuck. So every time I walked into the door and when I was around my children, that is what my wife called me, is "Hey, daddy." So that's an acceptable reason to be called daddy. The next reason that men actually like to be called daddy is most women throughout their lives, the number one man that has always been in their life is their father. And most women, I'm not saying that all of them, but most women look up to their father as being that man in their life that they has always loved. So when you start dating somebody and you call them daddy, it's an admiration to them that you look up to them sort of like you do your father. It ain't like you have a father fetish or something like that, but it means to the man that you're showing him admiration and that you're saying that you love him. And it's a playful, "Hello, daddy." The next reason is this is where it's starting to get into the creep level. It's a show of dominance. So you're calling him daddy. That means that you are bowing to him, that you are basically becoming submissive to him. By calling him daddy, you're telling him that he is in charge. And there's a lot of men that get off to that. The next reason is just has a little bit more to do with what we just talked about the dominance. Now, in the sexual field of being called daddy, and now we're going to go way out into the outfield now, is men like to be called daddy during bed is because, once again, it's a dominance thing. That means that you are being submissive. You are saying, "Yes, daddy, anything you want, daddy." It depends on the man that's actually in the situation on how he takes daddy. I mean, there are some guys out there that actually have a daughter fetish, and they actually will picture you as their daughter, and those guys probably need to go check into the local state prison and have a meal or two. The next reason is men actually like it because it's a playful thing, and men usually like youthful acting women. So what this means is we're not talking about age here. Men usually like women that are kind of bubbly and alive and playful and you throw in daddy, yes, daddy, and while you're playing and stuff like that. Guys tend to like that. The last reason, we're going to jump right back into that outfield, and I've already talked about it just a little bit. Those guys need to go stay in the state prison. There is some guys out there that just plain out wish that they were with their daughter. I can't even dive into this one because I can't comprehend how they can think that. But there is men out there. If you've ever watched the World Wide Web, then you know that there's probably about 74,000 million trillion fetishes out there, and the daughter thing happens to be a big one of them. So there's a lot of guys out there, and I hope they all deserve what they get. So that is some of the reasons why men liked being called daddy from marriage all the way up to the creep show. So it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's just a term of endearment, or it could be for your children. But for all you peeps out there that are throwing it way out into outfield, you might want to cut back on that one. But anyway, as always, these videos right here, they're going to give you some more great tips from women. And like always, ladies, stay beautiful.